And we are back with our Talk Business podcast after a little summer vacation there. Wes Brown, our business editor at Talk Business and Politics, joins me. Good to see you again, Wes.
Welcome back, man. I'm glad to be back.
All right, first block here. Let's talk about what's going on with our big story of the week. I'm going to let you go first.
Oh, well, my big story, next week, the Federal Reserve is meeting on the 16th and 7th of next week, and I guess the elephant in the economy is my big story, is interest rates. Will the Fed raise interest rate? I think that it's going to have a big effect on what happens for the rest of the year in terms of the economic growth. We saw the GDP growth by 3.7% in the second quarter, which is the biggest gain we've seen in several years. So if we can keep that momentum going, I think if interest rates go up, I think you're going to see the economy stall. But if it stays the same, as they say, okay, we're going to back off and may wait until early 2016 or mid 2016, then I think you'll start to see that momentum still gain with the economy.
Do you think a quarter-point interest rate hike in the Fed funds rate would bring the economy to a stall? It doesn't change the overall rates that much.
I still don't think the job numbers are as good as we would like to see. You don't see the growth in wages that the Fed Chairman Janet Yellen said she wanted to see. And we've seen the growth in terms of numbers, but we haven't seen the growth in terms of the wages and higher wages.
All right. Well, that brings me to my big story of the week. It folds into that in some respects. Mm-hmm. Home sales up 8% year to date and up double digits over 2 years ago. Right. Mm-hmm. So you got home sales up in a strong way. You've got low gas prices below $2 a gallon, as you've reported, and we'll talk about, I think, a little bit later. Falling unemployment, as you said. These low interest rates, even though they may raise them, they're still low. All right. Yes. And sales tax collections are good. Yeah. If any one of those things I just mentioned were not moving in the direction that they are, we would scream that the sky is falling.
I guarantee if you talk to some of your banker friends, they will say, we don't want an interest rate hike.
Well, I'm sure they wouldn't. But they will say that they do for their savings deposit people. They will. But I don't know if they have more of those than they do loans is what they want to do.
We'll see.
Still, though, people are nervous about the economy.
Yeah, they are.
Do you have a take on why they are nervous with all of those good things I just reported?
Well, I think, we haven't seen that momentum. We haven't seen GDP growth seeing 3 or 4 consecutive quarters, and I think that's why the consumers and everybody thinks what's going to happen with the gas prices. Something's going to happen. We're going to have a war. We're going to have something that happens, and they balloon back up. So I think the nervousness is that they just unsure. And of course, you look at the stock market. You saw it go down for several weeks, saw big shocks in the stock market, then start to gain, and then it goes back. So there's nothing settled. So I think until things see some momentum go for 3 or 4 quarters, then I think consumers will be a little bit more confident.
I agree with you on that people are nervous, and it's things outside of their control, I think is what it is. Right. So, all right, we're going to take a quick break here, and we're going to come back with 4 minutes, 4 questions. Wes and I are going to duke it out.
Right. Right.
All right, and welcome back to our Talk Business podcast. I'm with Wes Brown, business editor for Talk Business and Politics. 4 minutes, 4 questions. Right. I asked 2, you asked 2. I'm going first on this one because we were just talking about this. Pump prices below $2 a gallon across Arkansas now. How low can they go?
Well, we're already seeing today the gas buddy had some in some areas in Fort Smith. There were some down to 182. In Jonesboro down to 185. So I think you're going to continue to see those prices I think, unless we have a refinery crash or something. And we're bound to have them because you're going to see the refinery switch over.
An intentional one or an unintentional one?
But what will happen, unless crude oil prices come back up in the forecast out there from Wall Street, are that crude oil prices are going to stay depressed for well into 2016. So you're going to see prices heading into Christmas in early 2016, well below, not well below, I would say between $1.75 and $2. They're going to stay in that range.
It won't last forever, though.
No, it won't. Something's going to happen, man.
All right. We'll see what it is. All right, your turn to ask.
We had the announcement for the JLTV project, which is the Joint Light Tactical Vehicle, which is a successor to the Humvee and the Jeep. So Arkansas was in the running for this $30 billion contract, but Lockheed Martin, which has a plant down in Canada, lost. They were second place to Oshkosh Defense. My question to you, they filed a protest, and I want to ask you, will that protest be successful, or what will it do?
It will not be successful. They are rarely successful when those protests are made like that. I think if you're Lockheed Martin, though, this was an important contract for you. It's not the most important contract for you, but it diversifies what you have been doing. So I think it was important in that respect for them. I don't blame them for protesting it, though. I mean, what's the worst thing that's going to happen to you? I mean, you're going to get told no again a second time. So, you know, maybe there's a once in a 1,000 chance that there was something technical that was wrong, or that they can make an argument that compels the Department of Defense to change that. I don't think that will happen, but you got to play for keeps.
Right.
Why not? Why not go for that? So I think that the outcome will be pretty negligible unless it's overturned. But I don't think that they've hurt themselves by protesting.
No, I think it's, like you said, it's a normal process.
All right. We are seeing a lot of volatility, particularly in the international markets. You alluded to it in our big story portion of the podcast about what's been happening in the stock markets. We've seen some things stabilize since then, but we went through some weeks of some real, not even ups and downs, just some downs for a while. So European downturn or Chinese downturn, which is where you're seeing big activity there, which is worse for your stock portfolio?
I think obviously we saw some shock to the portfolio when Greece had its problems earlier in the year, early part of the year. But when China goes down, that's the second largest economy in the world, and it has a broad effect. Not only has a broad effect on U.S. Treasuries, it has a broad effect on U.S. manufacturing, import, export. So when the second largest economy and it's continuing to grow, and some people expect the Chinese economy to surpass the United States economy in 30 or 40 years. So that has a broader effect, and it also has an effect on your stock portfolio. Look at your 401k and see how it's doing.
Don't look at it. Don't look at it. You'll bail. You'll get bad thoughts.
Yeah. I guess your financial broker's probably telling you.
Look at it a year from now. All right.
Okay.
Last question's yours.
My question to you is BH Billiton, which is the Australian mining company that has about 500,000 leasehold acres down in the Fayetteville Shale of natural gas leases. They've basically said this year they're going to stop drilling, going to mothball all their plans. My question to you, how are they going to change that trajectory in the Fayetteville Shale? We've seen a downturn in the Fayetteville Shale, which was booming for several years in Arkansas.
So what's going to change the trajectory? Well, number one, natural gas prices are going to have to come back up so that there's more profit in them, and I think that would result in something. We got a big inventory supply problem right now. I mean, we got more than we need.
Everybody's drilling.
So I think prices have to come back up. I think that if there were a new market for dry natural gas, which is what we pull out of the ground here versus the wet natural gas that's coming out of some other areas where there's not as much pullback I think there has to be something like that. And maybe third and finally, maybe innovation could lead to some sort of change in the trajectory, as we've said, or this downward spiral. I don't know what that would be, but maybe there is a way to convert it to gasoline more easily, or something technological or innovative causes a breakthrough and allows for that dry natural gas that you get out of the Fayetteville Shale play. I think it's going to take some combination or one of those major things happening to turn this around. The most likely is prices.
The price. Yeah, I agree.
All right. You're agreeing with me?
Yeah.
It happens every now and then.
Every now and then.
All right. Wes Brown, 4 Minutes, 4 Questions, our Talk Business podcast. Good to be back with you.
Good to be back.
All right. You can keep up with all of the business headlines each and every day at talkbusiness.net. I'm Roby Brock. We appreciate you tuning in.